All right. We are back, everybody. We made it. And we really pulled off one hell of a shindig, if I might say so myself. We did it. Sync Up 2, I should say, is in the bag. We have completed our second annual in person event. And definitely was exhausting in many ways. Yesterday, I was like, it almost felt like a hangover. I didn't drink a drop of alcohol the entire weekend, but just was, I think, my nervous system and all the stress and excitement of the whole weekend finally caught up to me yesterday. I just was barely holding my eyes open. So, sort of feel halfway normal again today. So, that's really cool. And what's up, Prod Storex? Um, Wanted to just jump in and chat with you guys and kind of do a little bit of a recap on the event. Everything obviously looks a little different. If you're new to the channel, get used to this about every 6 months to 9 months. I get bored with my layouts in my studio office spaces, so I usually just switch everything out. So today, I literally was bringing in all the stuff out of my car, all the equipment, and hey, what's up, Michael? Good to see you, man. Michael was there in person, of course. So as I'm coming in, I'm like, all right, opportunity. My studio is basically broken apart, anyways. As I'm putting it together, I rearranged everything. So and kind of using a little bit more dramatic lighting now. So let me know what you guys think about that. I'm not sure if I'm settled on this. Obviously, I'm gonna probably make a couple adjustments, but so far, kind of digging this new look. I'm a little off center though. Probably got to move my chair, just like another couple of inches that way. So, thank you. Glad you liked it. Very cool. Yeah, but what an amazing weekend. I mean, I have to just share with you guys like behind the scenes. This year, planning it felt in some ways more stressful than the first year. The first year was obviously more about just the anticipation, the excitement of it, getting our first event off the ground. I was more, I guess, nervous about meeting all of you, those of you that showed up, because other than I think Trevor, I don't think I'd met any of you guys in person. So I literally was walking into a room last year with 50 people I had never met before, including the CEOs. Many of the CEOs I'd never met in person either. So it was just a little bit intimidating because most of you guys obviously have seen me for many, many years, and you know what I look like and you know what I sound like and all that kind of stuff. So you could probably spot me walking through a hotel lobby, but some of you, I might have seen a little avatar here or there over the years, but I really don't know. I'm not intimately familiar with what you guys look like. So it just kind of felt like a little bit, I was in a fishbowl and a lot of people could see in, but I couldn't necessarily see out. So that was the first year. The second year, this year, we had, I would say it's about half. I think about half of our in-person attendees were people that had joined us last year. So it felt like a reunion. It was like, oh, familiar face, Michael and John, Carlos, and many, many others that joined us last year, joined us again this year. So I'm like, this is kind of a cool feeling to be like union, what is it? What's the word? Reuniting. There you go. Reuniting with other people that we had gotten to know and met last year. And definitely some new faces as well, and some faces and some people that have been in our community for many years, but this was the first time they were able to join us in person, so that was really cool. But I think what happened this year, and I'm curious, Michael, if you felt this or anybody else. Hey, John. Hey, what's up, John? Right on. I'm so glad. John, obviously, and his wife won one of the Sync Up Awards, so congrats, guys. But this year, what I really noticed is because we'd broken the ice last year, that was like the first time, and it felt a little bit like a reunion. I felt like we were able to go deeper this year in terms of the, whatever you want to call it, the heart and soul content. Soul content. What's up, Harry? We definitely had a lot of education. You guys were jam-packed with tons of stuff. I learned a lot. I'm actually going to be rewatching a lot of our streams right now in the next week to kind of, for myself, catch up on everything. I don't know if my head was exactly always there with every panel, with everything that was going on. And yes, I've learned some very important lessons for our future events to not be managing so much simultaneously. It's definitely too much for me to do. But because we had broken the ice already, many of us had met each other before, and definitely with a lot of our composer panels this year. We had a lot more this year than we had last year. And I noticed that those were the panels, for me at least, that really felt like we kind of got into a sort of the heart and soul of our stories, like our actual journeys and human stories in this industry, from strife we've overcome to disadvantages we had to overcome to get to where we are, to problems that we had to deal with, and sometimes very, very personal, very, very stressful, emotional problems. For those of you that were there, you heard Papstar's story. Papstar's been on my channel a couple times. Like, that's not easy stuff for him to get over what he was going through. And so I just, like, especially on Sunday, like, my heart was starting to swell and just feel more and more connected to all of you guys that were there. And I was like, this is kind of letting me know really what this event, I think, is about, and what I think we should lean even further into, because the education side is important, but I think education is kind of everywhere. You can go online, you can go to my YouTube channel, you can search up anything now. Understanding how to succeed with sync or all the various aspects of it's kind of like, I don't know, it's not really that interesting or hard to find. It's readily available, and it's all over the place right now. So if you wanted to learn more about education on this business, I think there's plenty of places to go there, right? We have plenty of resources here, but it's really about the recharging yourself, right? That's because we're so isolated. You guys know that, like, you can feel it now, right? We're all back. You guys are watching this now, and Michael's saying that we could absolutely go deeper since many of us already knew each other, and I feel like the warmth made it easier to meet new people too. Absolutely. And so it's like this network effect where we can now welcome in new people because we've already established this kind of community, this like culture. It's like now we've got our own little subculture of Sync Up and Sync Academy and this YouTube channel, of course. But Sync Up, it's that in-person thing that you feel it. If you're there, you can just kind of feel it. And what I got out of it was, for sure, with all the AI stuff I've been talking about, I was getting a little bit negative on sync and our future, and just unsure and just not feeling that great, and obviously not really thinking about music that much. But because of that event, I was certainly re-plugged in, recharged, re-excited about our industry as a whole, about the amazing talented producers many of you guys are that we played the music, and the amazing CEOs and the library representatives that played some of their sizzle reels and some of their music. And just to be a part of a thing where people are enjoying and appreciating music and sharing music and collaborating, it's just like the coolest hang you can have. I just think that's really what it is. And it kind of reignited my love for music, first and foremost, but also for sync. And so I think hopefully some of you guys are feeling that right now as you're, coming back to your home studios or wherever you're going to, and realizing that really was probably the main benefit of it. I mean, I know some of you obviously were attending to connect with the CEOs and pitch your music. But yeah, I'm just kind of wondering if we should be thinking more about leaning this event more into that zone, not abandoning having CEOs. Of course, we're going to create definitely some connections and opportunities for you guys. But, I always think of like, okay, what are the other conferences? You got PMC. I know Taxi has their event. There's many other events, that are kind of sync focused. I don't know. I haven't been to many of them. I think I've only been to like a handful in my career. Some of you guys maybe have been to them, but it would appear that many of them are obviously more at the educational level, and certainly networking level, of course, too, but really more about the how do you really succeed? How do you really thrive? How do you do this? But I don't know. To me, it's like I think we should kind of focus. We should go deeper into the emotional aspect of this, into the community aspect of this, into making your heart swell up, hopefully as mine did, because that's really what gets us through the tough times in this business. It's not knowing how to operate your PRO account. It's not really learning how to use a new plugin or something like that, or figuring out this new structure of how to put a sync track together. That's all really good stuff, and we're going to obviously talk about those topics. But when you're not feeling like making music anymore, even Hans had this great point. He said it's always track 7. He's making a whole album. By the time he gets to track 7, that's when he really feels that it's like, oh, can I even get through this? It doesn't matter if Hans looks up how to get through, writer's block, or he, uses a new plugin or tries new sounds. He really needs to recharge himself, as we all do as well. And so I thought there were little moments throughout the weekend that made me realize, at least for me, that's the big benefit I'm getting from this event, is I'm really feeling like it's recharging my batteries to really plug in and connect with you guys. And of course, makes me want to do this far more often if we possibly can. I know that's really, really difficult, but I still am really interested and open to more in-person events, even if they're scaled back, not necessarily as big with all the fanfare and all that kind of stuff. But I really think we need to be doing this kind of stuff as often as we possibly can. It's just so good for us, for sure. Wow, and John's saying that one of the CEOs that reviewed your track in person wants it. So awesome. So yeah, some of those in-person review sessions I think went really well for some of you guys to really just be in a private listening room with a CEO that was hopefully partnered up for your track. So I think that's going to be really, really cool, John, for you guys to get a deal. I really hope that comes through. Yeah, and Harry's saying it's hard not to get negative with all the AI stuff for sure. With the amount of rejection, hard work, and industry development, the emotional side can so easily get out of control. So sharing with like-minded people is very important. Yeah, and Harry, I have this whole tutorial series in Sync Academy called Sync Psych 101 because it's exactly that, where your psychology, which is really your emotional health, your emotional well-being, how you're feeling. It makes all the difference in terms of, if this is going to be something that you're going to have a long-term career in or not. And I know that I tell all of you guys in Sync Academy, watch those videos before you watch any of the technical stuff. But, I see the sort of numbers and I don't think many people heed that advice. And they're just like, I'm not here for the woo-woo psychological stuff. I'm here for the technical how-to. And that's okay, because I think at some point, more or less, all of us run into that wall, into that moment of like, oof, this is really, really hard now. How do I get through this? And it's not going to be a technical breakthrough that gets you through it. It is going to be a psychological breakthrough. And really, like you were saying, an emotional and a physical, hopefully, connection with other people who are just as crazy and dedicated and maybe desperate to succeed in sync as you are. So absolutely, Harry, it's a big thing. We got to do anything we can to kind of reach out and create this for each other. So Michael, you're definitely into more frequent events that are possibly more casual, just for the purpose of nurturing the connections. That's kind of what I want to do. I want to do more meet and greets. This could maybe turn into something where it's like our big annual huge event, but maybe once a quarter we have a meet and greet. One kind of fun idea I have, I don't know if it's feasible now with my daughters being so young. Traveling with daughters is obviously very stressful. But at some point, maybe taking this thing kind of on the road and going to various parts of the country, maybe internationally, I don't know, as long as we feel like there's enough people that could meet us. But I could essentially take a little family vacation to a fun spot, different parts of the country, and meet up with you guys. We could do a very informal, make an afternoon out of it. We could even do a full day or something, but like maybe not even rent out of space, go find like a public space so we could all hang out, order a pizza, get some coffee, whatever, So I think that would be kind of a cool way. It'll be definitely mutually beneficial. It gives me an excuse to go travel more, which I'm not going to hate that. I can write off the whole expense, the whole trip as well. And then you guys, wherever you guys are around the country, you can meet with each other locally, and then maybe that can help you guys create more local friendships and relationships so you guys can connect after that event is done. So I don't know. I'm definitely kicking around some ideas. It is a lot more. It's certainly, I got so spoiled running my current business online. If you just have Zoom sessions and, Sync Academy on Mighty Networks, YouTube, turning on your camera and talking to people, I can do it anytime. It's so, it's easy, it's streamlined, it's all digital. Physical stuff, it's physical labor, and it's been a while since I've done, other than mowing my lawn. I don't do tons of physical labor these days, which I'm, very grateful for. But it is just a lot of work. Oh, that was what I was going to give you guys a little behind the scenes, how I was feeling. So as I said, a little bit stressful this year, putting it all together. And, I get there Friday, and I think there was Hans, Scott, Alvaro, Trevor was there, and Yella. I think that was the core group that was helping us set up that night. So, just excited to see these guys. These are like now my brothers. I'm just really excited to see them, of course, and we're setting up the room, and I'm a little bit overwhelmed with all the stuff we have to get set up. It's like, you got a camera, you got a live cam, you got your speaker system, you got your PA system, you got all of this stuff, right? And anyways, try to go to bed Friday night. Couldn't at all. I might have slept an hour, 2 hours, something like that. Come to the UK. That's a big ask right now, Harry. I'll be very honest with you. I don't think going overseas right now is going to be likely in the next couple of years, but maybe 3 to 5 years, maybe more feasible with my kids being a little bit older, but that might be an ask right now. So pizza and coffee sounds perfect. All right, Michael, cool. Maybe we'll count you in for that. But anyways, yeah, and guys, put up your chats, your thoughts. If you guys were there, watched it virtually, definitely would like to hear what you guys thought, what you're feeling right now. But yeah, so didn't sleep at all Friday. Was obviously nervous, excited, all that kind of stuff. Mainly because I met one of the members who had flown in from the UK. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have people flying from the UK for this. I'm very grateful and blessed to find that out, but also it puts the pressure on, like, you have to perform, Jesse. You've got people that flew halfway across the world for this thing. So it definitely adds up for the stakes feel like they were just getting amped up more and more and more. So didn't sleep at all Friday. Saturday, I made the mistake of scheduling it so that, I gave the first presentation, you guys did a little bit of networking, and then I was really on stage the entire day. It wasn't me carrying it all. I was basically interviewing each CEO one by one. But I'm sitting there interviewing them, having to pay attention to what they're saying, trying to keep the conversation fluid and really be responsive. Also monitoring the live stream, trying to get the audio right, which I now realize is not something I should be doing. I will hire and have probably Alvaro, if you're watching this, buddy. That might be your job next year. And also we had a big internet problem. Like the internet was going, it was choppy, it was terrible. And this was like the internet at the Hyatt, which I paid a lot of money for us to have access to. And it's like, last year we had none of these problems, right? Internet was totally fine last year. So anyways, this is going on and I'm just getting tired and exhausted. I'm running on no sleep. The internet's stressing me out. There's just a lot of things that are piling up on Saturday. And then, we had a little break before we had our dinner. I literally just went into my hotel room and just laid down. I didn't sleep, but I just laid there. I tried to kind of just clear my mind and be like, all right, I really just need to, I wasn't feeling good. I wasn't feeling it. Went back to dinner. Had a good time at dinner for sure, but just tired. Voice was starting to hurt, getting a little headache, just feeling like, too much. And definitely, Alex, I'm asking for the refund on the internet. And I ended up using my hotspot on Sunday, and it was perfect. It was way better, even faster. So I might just start using my hotspot and forget about hotel Wi-Fi. So I don't know. It freaked me out to even rely on their Wi-Fi from now on. But anyways, so Saturday at the end of the dinner, it's like 8:30 or something like that. And, I just sort of like, I'm dragging. I'm really dragging. And my head is just telling me, this is it. This is the last one. Like, it's cool. We got to do a couple of these things, but this is too much. It's too hard, too stressful. I'm exhausted. And honestly, I'll be honest with you guys. I didn't have the most fun Saturday for me. It wasn't entirely fun. It was just a lot of work. It was a lot of pulling. I think in the beginning of the day, up until lunch, I probably was having more of a good time. But lunchtime to dinner, I was just getting through it. And it was like, man, if I'm not having fun, I told you guys at the beginning of the day, I was like, if I'm not having fun, I'm doing something wrong. And that's what kept on going back in my head. I'm like, if this isn't fun anymore, why are you doing it? Like, don't do it anymore if it's stressing you out, right? If there's no reward to it. So anyways, I'm walking back at the end of the dinner, going into my hotel room to take a nap, trying to sleep that night. And I run into Carlos, who was there at the event. And he was like, just in passing, he's like, all right, Jesse, sync up part 3 next year, right? We're going to do it part 3. You got to do it part 3. And I'm sitting there at the end of this day of no sleep and just overwhelming and just not feeling good. And just, I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever, Carlos. And I just joking around like, well, I might be having you helping me out then. Like, maybe I'll need some help on this. And so, anyway, so he goes his way. I go up to my room and I'm laying there, going to sleep that night. And I'm like, damn it, Carlos, why'd you have to put that in my head? Like, I was just so convinced that this was it. Like, this was going to be the last one. I'll get through one more day, and this will just be kind of the end of the event. And then his little comment was, bouncing around in my head as I was going to sleep. Luckily, that night I did sleep. I slept really well, actually. So I woke up Sunday feeling like a human being again, actually recharged my batteries, felt like I was ready for the day. And as we started Sunday, I can't tell you that it just got better and better. It started off great, and because my hotspot was obviously working, didn't have to stress out about that. And every single panelist, every single guest speaker, we started off with AJ Gundale of Future Hits, had an amazing panel with him talking about songwriting. Songwriting is in me. It's what I love. I'm realizing that we're going to spend a lot more time on this channel and in Sync Academy talking about songwriting. So get ready for that. Definitely coming. That reignited my love of songwriting and of sync, how you can marry the two passions very effectively and easily. And there's a clear path forward. I can see it to be able to cover those kind of topics. Definitely got to learn how to delegate even more, Alex. You're absolutely right. I did better this year. I'll be honest. It was tough, but I did have Alvaro come and help me out this year and help up set up, take down, and a lot of things that I probably was doing last year. So this year, and it was like, it was tempting for me to want to go help him and do stuff that he was doing. And I was just like, nope. That's what his job is this year. Your job is to just talk network, hang out with people, and really just be present in the event. So I'm getting better at it. It's not one of my strengths for sure. So yeah, Sunday was just such a refill of my cup. And then having composer after composer, we had Yella, we had Anthony. And Anthony, for those of you guys that were there or watched it on camera or virtually, brought literally printouts of his royalties to prove, not to show off, but to actually just have proof of his growth in the last 2 years. And for those of you guys that were there, you saw what his growth was. Crazy, crazy growth, which I also told you guys, this is not normal. Don't expect this for all of you. But here we are, 2024, this kind of opportunity, this kind of growth is still possible in this business. So I don't want to hear this, the good old days are over and nobody's really doing well in this anymore. You guys saw proof with literally documents right there, either on camera or in the room, that some people are figuring out some great ways to thrive in this. So there's still lanes and avenues and opportunities for you guys to do well. And then we had Hans give his speech, great, about marrying your love of being creative and original with how to serve a commercial marketplace, which sometimes can be at odds with each other and cause burnout. And he's definitely struggled with that. And he was so transparent and honest about how he was feeling throughout all of his journey and all of his experiences. We had a shared panel with Mike and Trevor, and they were just talking about their companies and what they focus on and how you guys can potentially start selling and pitching your music off to them. And yeah, so it was just like panel after panel after panel. And there was a lot. We were running a little late after lunch, and so we were just kind of having to knock them out. I wanted to really stay on schedule. But it was like every single time a new guest speaker got up there, I was like, yep, remember this feeling. And I just remember right here, my heart was swelling. I was feeling so connected to everybody. Like I just personally had so much love. I was feeling so much love in the room for everybody that was presenting and all of you guys that were there. And I was like, okay, yeah, we got to do this. This is absolutely, it has to be done. There's got to be a way to do it where I'm not overworked and overstressed. We do need to cut costs. I'll be honest, that was kind of the big thing this year. I started realizing that with inflation and everything, these hotels, especially the ones very close to LAX, their rates are crazy high this year. The food went up, the parking went up, the rental rates went, like everything went up. And I was like, I don't know if this is sustainable for our kind of event. We don't have this massive, 1,000 people showing up kind of event. It's a very small, intimate, 50 people event. So we got to be really mindful of that. So I am entertaining and looking already at potentially moving venues. I might also just try to reach out to the hotel and say, hey, if we come back for our third year, let's see if we can negotiate a little bit more favorably for us if you want to keep us coming back every year, because this year our costs really, really went up to the point where I was like, I don't know about this venue anymore. And I hate to say that because I love where we were at. It was so convenient, and at least half of you guys flew in for it. So I don't know. We're going to see what we do there. But yeah, by Sunday, and it was so fun. Like at the very end, we were, everything was kind of getting broken down. All the equipment's getting broken down. Some people had kind of filtered out and they were going downstairs, and there was about, 10 or 20 of us just still hanging out in the room, just kind of forming a circle and just talking shop. And for those of you that were in that conversation, all those topics need to stay right there in that room and not be shared publicly, because, we got a little spicy with some of the conversation and some of the topics we were talking about. But it just reminded me of being like in high school and like hanging out after school, hanging out after a basketball game or a soccer game, and just talking, just hanging out. And it's like, those are the kind of just really special, magical moments that I really think we got to hang on to and do anything we can to do that. So as I was driving home, just felt so excited, like overwhelmed, of course, like couldn't quite process it. I still am right now trying to process it. But definitely by the end, it was a happy ending. My happy ending was, yes, we got to do this again, and we got to maybe be a little creative next year. We'll see what we have to do. But we want to just keep making this better and better for you guys all. So let me just check out your questions, comments, what you guys think about the event, what you thought about it. I got to go back up. I've missed a few. Jack Slicer. I've been following you for quite a while, and now I believe I'm ready to join this community. I was wondering if you have foreign members. By the way, there's no PRO here in my country. Yes, Jack, you are not going to be alone, not being native to the United States. We have many members from Australia to Europe to Africa to South America, Canada, pretty much Russia. You name it, we've got somebody from it. So, and you don't need to have a local PRO to get started. You can partner with BMI or ASCAP from wherever you are in the world. They do accept international members. So absolutely. I'm assuming you might be meaning Sync Academy. So we would love to have you join us. We've got a very amazing, thriving community, and some really cool stuff is going on over there. So feel free, join us. We'd love to have you. So Orlando, Florida, Tizar, man, Florida for sure is on my short list because yeah, I want to take my girls to some fun, you know, I don't know if it's going to be Disney World or whatever, but it's crazy expensive now, all these places. But I know that new, what's the new Universal Park opening up next year, I think? Epic Universe, something like that. That seems cool. I don't know if that's really good for toddlers. Maybe more of a Disney World trip would be great. But yeah, Florida for sure is something I think might be on our short list. If not for a full event, but maybe just to fly out, hang out, have a meetup. Because I know there's a lot of people out in that sort of Orlando area. That would be really cool. Harry says the time it's important to sleep is when it's impossible to sleep. It seems to be. Definitely seems to be. Thank you, Samuel. Appreciate that, man. Samuel, you've been around forever. I think you've been with us for years. I remember, I don't know how long ago, but your last name, Boachat. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I remember seeing your last name for a long time with us, man. So it's really cool you're still hanging. Yeah, Carlos is definitely always great for a shot of inspiration. Yes, he is certainly one of our biggest cheerleaders. And he actually might be primarily responsible for a part 3 coming to you guys. So definitely give Carlos a thanks for that. Alex is saying depression seemed to be a common theme in overcoming by working. Yep. Yeah, the other thing too about that, Alex, I don't know if you noticed, I'm definitely going to make a video just about this one topic, but the tease is there was certainly one element of all the successful people you guys saw at Sync Up, and it really didn't have anything to do with their talents or their connections or anything else. From what I could see and what I could tell, it all came from their mindset, right? It all came from them either losing work during COVID, you know, in Papstar's case, losing a marriage, losing a daughter, losing a kid, and various obstacles that all of them had to come through. And each one of them said, all right, well, I got to deal with this. I got to accept it and figure out how do I make lemonade out of these lemons. And the minute they did that, they started just moving forward, getting more productive in their careers, and eventually found that it actually worked out for them, right? So none of us are getting out of life without any, rocks thrown at our face. Like we're all getting beat up, in various ways, one way or another, right? Bad things happen to us. We have disadvantages, you name it. Like we've all got it. It's just different flavors, but we've all got problems, right? And the only thing that separates people that are really thriving and doing well from those that are really struggling is just what they do with that, like how they perceive it, how they decide to go, okay, is this happening to me? And am I a victim? And it's just woe is me, and it's just too hard, and I'm not even going to try. Or do I say, is this happening for me? And this is going to cause me to grow, and this is going to get my butt out of bed maybe more often, or get my butt into my seat, making more music, or networking more, or challenging myself, or whatever. That mindset is what's, I believe, separating the people that are doing great from the people that are really struggling. Just a mindset. Now, when I mean great, that doesn't mean that somebody's making 6 figures in sync, okay? I don't mean that. I mean doing great in terms of they feel productive, they feel positive, they feel empowered, and most importantly, they feel like they are making forward progress, as opposed to people that feel stagnant, going backwards, going nowhere. We're all on a journey. We're all at different points of our, income, different points of our growth, and that kind of a thing. But that's really kind of secondary to, do you feel like you are actually moving forward and being productive and excited about your career, or are you dreading and hating what you're doing? Because how do you keep this up for 5 or 10 years if that's where your mindset's at? So I'll make a whole video really talking about that, but that was for sure the theme of the event. Of it's all up here. And it's crazy how it ties back to that exact reframe that I was trying to share with you guys with the AI anxiety and dread that some of you guys feel. Is it's not about happening to you, it's happening for you. The minute you do that, you start to see some magic happen. Harry, I landed a big trailer sync, my first agency sync. Wow, just when things were feeling extra hard. Sometimes that's exactly when you get them, Harry. So congrats to you, man. Really, really cool. It's for Harold and the Purple Crayon. Okay. From the director of Ice Age. Wow. Well done, Harry. Excited for you, man. live it up, enjoy that, go treat yourself. Very, very cool. Yeah, we're sorry we didn't see you either, Alex. But thank you so much for streaming. We obviously appreciate that. And I made this at the very beginning of the event, which was that hey, all of you guys that bought an in-person ticket and virtual, of course, you guys make this stuff happen, right? I organize it, I plan it, I get the guest speakers, I book the venue. Yes, I do all that kind of work, but you guys are the ones paying for it, right? And I kind of want to keep this theme coming back that if you guys want this event, you guys have to get the tickets, okay? So if I sort of come out and offer, an event like this to say, all right, we're going to go do this, and this is the event, and these are the speakers we want to do. If you guys find this valuable, like it's really on you. I will basically work with the resources you guys give me for, if you guys find it valuable, if it's worth your time, effort, and money to attend these kind of things, you guys buy the tickets and then I'll go get to work. That's kind of how it's going to work. Okay. So I really wanted to say thank you, and I did, to all of you guys that purchased a ticket this year in person and virtually, because you guys made part two possible. If I had offered the tickets, I think I started in March, and nobody bought them, I wouldn't have gone forward with this thing. There's no way. I would have canceled everything. I would have canceled the event. I would have, said like, sorry, I guess whatever, for one reason or another, we don't have the demand. So it really comes down to you guys. Like, this is really your event. This is really and that's why I do ask for your feedback as well. Everybody that had an in-person or virtual ticket, I just sent out a link this morning asking for your reviews and your feedback, and it's totally anonymous. I don't want to know who says what. Be brutally honest. Tell me what sucked. Tell me what was great. Tell me what you want to see more. Tell me what you don't want to see any more of. And I've already seen a couple of really great suggestions that was definitely going to make it better, because you guys did that the first year round. I asked for your feedback. And once I got all those notes, we made changes. And I think we made some meaningful changes this year that absolutely showed that it increased the value and the experience for many of you guys. Wasn't perfect, still had our issues. So we're going to keep, tweaking things and making it better and better as time goes on. But your guys' honesty and your feedback, and of course you guys showing up, purchasing your tickets, makes it possible. So just remember that it's not my event, it's yours. You're just basically enabling me to have the resources to pull it together, to get everybody together, to basically, have people focus on this event for the weekend. So if you want it, show up. That's basically all I can say for our next event, right? All right, Samuel saying, on my last BMI, showed a placement on Netflix. My kid said, Dad, we're so proud of you. That's awesome, man. That is so cool. Yeah, anytime you can share your sync successes or your uh, music, yeah, with your kids, man, those are the best moments I'm finding now, kind of as a newer dad. We had a whole breakdown of my Major League Baseball gig with Perry of Epic Music, and one thing I didn't even mention, I'm kicking myself for not mentioning, but most of those, the first iteration and all the revisions that I showed you guys there, those were many of them done with my daughter sitting right there, like right behind me. She was just either watching a show or she was having a snack or something like that, because I didn't, we don't do daycare, just so you guys know. So when you're like, well, why is your schedule so limited? Just put her in daycare. We've just decided not to put her in daycare. So we are actually full time, like, all day long, taking breaks with each other, and helping each other out. But we just don't have, we just opted not to do that. We do have family members that help us out and stuff, but still, there are times where I'm on duty and I got a opportunity to go make a revision on a track. So it's like, all right, well, let's get in the car and it's take your daughter to work day. So anyways, she was really a part of that entire gig. And so now when I play those tracks or she hears it, she sings along to it. And it's kind of such a cool way that's like, wow, it's one of our earliest memories we're going to have of her sharing, and pretty much my most prominent placement in my career. She was right there alongside the entire time. So wow, what's not to love about that? So sharing this stuff with your family is really cool. There was also really great, it was a father-son. It was Brandon and Brandon Jr. They showed up, and they got their premium tickets like really like a couple of days before the event started, and they had just found me on YouTube like a month or two before. Flew out all the way from, I think it was Virginia. I want to say it was Virginia, and they're a duo. It's a father and son that work together. The father's the engineer, the son's the rapper, and they're going to be collaborating, making sync music together. I was like, that is like the coolest thing I've ever heard of. And the fact that they can work together and bond over that and be productive together is just so amazing. So it was like, wow, well, thank you. You guys took a, and I told him at dinner, I was like, you took a big risk coming here. You spent a lot of money. You got a premium ticket, which is like the expensive ticket. And I said, you just knew me. You just got to know me in the last month or two on my YouTube channel. Like, man, I really hope I provided for you. And they said, yeah, they said they really got a lot out of it. But I was like, well, thank you for trusting me and giving me a shot at that. But that was so cool that some of you, a lot of you guys, you've been around for years. You kind of, you know what I'm about. You kind of see the quality that I deliver. But it was so cool just to see somebody out of the blue just randomly stumbling across it and go like, oh, you got an event? We'll fly across the country and go to that. I'm like, wow, just really, that was a really cool moment too. So hard without daycare, yeah, but you know what? It's hard with daycare too. Like I was talking with Hans about that, how some parents, do, both parents work and whatever. In our family, I'm the primary provider, so we don't have two, luckily, just obviously, thankfully. So, but that maybe some people who do have two parents working and go to daycare, they think, oh, well, Jesse, you must have it so easy that only you have to work and the mom doesn't have to work. It's like, there are a whole host of challenges this way too. There's no way having kids where it's easy, okay? So for parents that, both have to work and they have to put their kids in daycare, that's challenging too. There's obviously challenges with that. Not putting your kids in daycare have a ton of challenges too because, my brain sometimes is in a great mood to want to be around my kids for a long period of time. Other days, it's a very, very troubling and challenging position to be in. So I'm figuring that out on the fly, making adjustments, obviously trying to have some good self-care. A lot of it comes down to literally sleep, diet, exercise, getting some productive work done. There's a lot of things that obviously make a difference, but there's no manual for this stuff. There's no book for it, but everybody with young kids and children and any kids in general, it's hard. It doesn't matter your situation. It's just hard for sure. So Alex, can I play through 3-minute version someday? Which 3-minute? Are you talking about the MLBN placement? If that's it, yeah, I can definitely do that. Probably wouldn't do it here publicly on YouTube, but yeah, maybe we could do like I don't know, even a further in-depth analysis of that gig in Sync Academy. I wouldn't want to do that publicly though. That's now a track with Major League Baseball, and I don't know. I just don't want to put that kind of stuff out publicly if I can help it. Brandon and Brandon Drew's music is awesome too, Michael. Cool. I got to check it out. I know they got some track reviews, but I don't think I listened to those ones. I got to go check out what they're doing. So, yeah, Alex is saying amazing to know some musicians succeed without reading music. That's me too. I didn't say that at the event, but I don't read music either, guys. I use these are my two informers about what I should be doing. So I can read drum music, but I rarely ever, when was the last time I used, sheet music to compose my sync music? Never. I don't usually know what key I'm in. I usually don't know what chords I'm playing. Sometimes I can, but I'm a very, in terms of like music theory and like properly trained, I'm at the very, very bottom level of that education. So it's really just about how I'm feeling, what I hear. I'll experiment with things. Again, that's not necessarily a bad thing, obviously, because I think sometimes when you're overly trained, you get a little stiff and you only want to work within the box of what's acceptable by music theory standards. But when you don't really have that training, sometimes you can be a little more creative, and also you can really follow more emotionally where you want to go. So I found that I did study music theory in college, and I just was getting more and more angry at it for like 3 semesters. Because by the time I was done learning it, I'm like, this is now a mathematical algorithm formula. And music to me is not a mathematical algorithmic formula. It is an emotional art piece, and it's messy, and I don't want to, it's almost like one of those things where I don't really necessarily, I know there's rules and there's definitely structures, and we obviously follow those structures, but I don't want to be like so focused on the structure and the rules that I forget what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be like conveying this. Whatever is right here needs to come out in there. And that's what our primary purpose is here for Sync Music as well, is to clearly communicate and showcase our emotional side and various emotions with our music. So it can be an advantage to not be reading music and overly trained in that way, right? Or trained really at all. Harry saying time constraints can be a huge incentive to be economical and productive with your time. Too much time can be the enemy, I found. 100%, Harry. Like, I can't tell you guys, having kids and only getting like an hour or two, like right now, I'm out of the house for like 2 hours, maybe 2.5, if I can stretch it. Then I got to go back and make dinner. Knowing I only got a couple of hours is so great for me. It's so wonderful because it's like, well, I don't got time to just noodle around with stuff. If I'm going to make music, what am I making? What am I working on? If I'm going to work on the business or this YouTube, and today didn't necessarily have a huge, plan of what I wanted to do today. But as I got here and I was like, I like the new setup. I like the lighting. This is just kind of what I want to do, is just touching with you. And I was like, all right, this is going to be a good use of my time. Absolutely, for me, limitations and deadlines are amazing to keep me just focused on really what's important. How do you do metadata? They don't ask for keys. I have never been asked for what key any of my sync tracks are in, Alex. It's kind of interesting, but nope. They'll ask for what it sounds like, what's the tempo. You definitely got to get the tempo, but you can find that out from your DAW. They have never said, is it an F, is it major, is it minor? Never. Interesting. And mostly the reason for that is our users, which are like supervisors, editors, I don't know, people that are maybe even just video editors that are just taking a bunch of music for their TV shows that they're putting it in. Most of them probably aren't musically trained. Maybe music supervisors are. Some of them might be. But they're just looking for a vibe and a mood, and they want to listen to something and go like, oh yeah, that's kind of what it is. But they're not like, I need something in the key of F sharp major and it must modulate this. That's not their wheelhouse at all. They don't care about any of that kind of stuff. So no, I've never needed to do any of that kind of stuff. So you guys won't have to. I can pretty much guarantee you won't have to let them know what key your track is in, what the chords were, nothing like that. I've never had to. I'm not saying it maybe never happens, but not for me for sure. So. Yes, Alex, this is a new office outside of my house. I got this about a year ago, actually. It was July of last year. I did have my office studio in my house, and it was working fine until the second kid showed up. So 2 kids in the house is just too loud. There got to be a little bit too much chaos where I'm sitting here trying. I remember I was talking to Max, the data scientist at Hillsdorf, Max Hillsdorf. And this is when AI is starting to kind of come up on the surface, and I'm listening to this guy talk about really heady, high concepts about data training and algorithms and neural nets and all this kind of stuff. And I hear one of my, daughters like crying and kind of having a little tantrum in the background. And I'm like, I feel bad that I'm not helping out with that. I can't really focus on what this guy's saying. This is really intellectual stuff that I need to really pay attention to. So very quickly I was like, okay, this doesn't work anymore. I do need to get out of the house. But I'm very close to the house, though. I'm literally like 5 minutes away. It's such a great commute. I can go multiple times a day, and it literally doesn't feel like I have to, wait through traffic to get to the office or whatever. So yeah, found a really cool spot. Got a nice little window door view of the mountains around, so it's really cool. But yeah, just got a great place here, and it's really quiet. They put me in this little quiet corner of the building where I don't have a neighbor next to me, and this is actually an empty like hallway, so I don't have anybody like right next to me sharing a wall. So it's really nice. I can actually kind of crank up the music a little bit and get productive in here. So Zimmer can't read. Is that right, Teaser? I didn't know that. Hendrix can't read. Van Killen could not read. Any questions? Yeah, there you go. So true. You don't actually need to. Yeah, music. I don't know. Music is accessible by, and I'm sure the purists would think of me as not necessarily, or those of you that don't read or don't do that, as whatever. Not real producers or musicians, but yeah, whatever. If you can get the job done, all that matters is what you're hitting bounce on, and people are going, hey, that's cool. I'm going to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and jump off here, guys, because the other thing I did want to do with my little bit of free time here is to look into building, or maybe using, if there's already one that exists, a collaborator tool. Because as I was hearing all this music at Sync Up, I was like, I want to work with you. I want to work with you. I want to work with you. And I thought, what would be cool is if we in Sync Academy could create kind of a collaboration tool to allow people to basically post up opportunities to collaborate with each other. And I'm kind of doing a deep dive right now to find out if that's actually possible, if somebody already has created it, or if there's a way for me to create it, or maybe to hire somebody to create it. Because I know I have a kind of a specific vision of what I want it to look like. But yeah, if it already exists, I just want to use somebody else's tool. But if it doesn't, it's worth it, because I was like, this could be a cool, amazing feature of Sync Academy where you guys could we do have a collaboration corner, but honestly, it just doesn't get used that much because it's not very user friendly. And I think we can kind of almost like gamify it a little bit more to enable more of you guys to be working together. So Jack's asking, do I need to contact ASCAP before joining Sync Academy? If you're not a member with a PRO, definitely join one. I still recommend BMI. I am with BMI. I think they do great for TV film sync licensing. You can do ASCAP if you want. Both of them will get you your royalties. Whether you need to join them before Sync Academy, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter, but you do need to join them before you pitch to a library. So you could join Sync Academy now, then also get started with BMI or ASCAP. And Sync Academy, just so you know, is not a place where you're going to pitch your, well, we do have one library that's going to offer us opportunities from time to time, but that's not primarily why you guys should be joining our platform. That's not really, we're not a library, we're not a publisher. You're not going to be getting direct TV placements as a result of your membership in Sync Academy, just so you guys are clear on that. It's really more about learning the best practices, how to structure your tracks, mixing and mastering. Hopefully now we'll be doing some collaborations, that kind of thing. And yeah, and then if you want to learn like which companies to partner with, that would be more of a Sync Edge thing you should look into. That's a different service where you can actually get my TV film library recommendations. So between the two, you got Sync Academy and Sync Edge. You can actually learn how to structure your tracks, how to make them, get community around you, all that kind of stuff, collaborate. And then with Sync Edge, you can actually find out which companies that you want to send those tracks to and partner with. So it's kind of like a hand in glove sort of service that both of those really work together. So anyways, email me, Jesse at syncmymusic.com, Jessc, if you have any more questions before joining. Would be happy to answer them. So thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. And I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. I'm still feeling kind of tired. You can probably hear it in my voice. I'm still like recovering from all that. So we'll see if I put up a video tomorrow. I'm sure I will, but I don't know exactly what it'll be. So thank you guys. You guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and we'll talk to you all real soon.